Hey, it's Ate and I can't talk tonight. It's Atu Segno Senshi, a Sailor Moon podcast. Well, I'm trying to expand a little bit into the whole magical girl and anime genre, but for tonight we're going to stick with Sailor Moon. So, I'm Chari Vandeleras. You can follow me on Facebook, Lady Rose 82 Fanfic, or just search for Daughters of Crystal Tokyo, and on Twitter at C Vandeleras. And of course, you can still follow my best friend and former co-host, Faindina. She can be found on Facebook at Faindina or on Twitter at Faindina Cosplay. And I'd like to start giving out some more shout-outs. 2 other shout-outs we're going to give tonight. Go to Nerds at Night Gaming podcast. It's a fun, geeky gamer podcast. It's not really Sailor Moon related, but it's still a lot of fun. And to the guys at Real Spoilers. It's some of the funniest, colorful movie reviews that I have had the privilege to listen to, thanks to the guys at Nerds at Night Gaming, and you can find them on Twitter and Facebook as well, Real Spoilers, all one word. So, and you can find the podcast website at http://atusegnosenshi.weebly.com, and you can email us at atusegnosenshi@gmail.com, or you can find us on social media. On Twitter, at Senshi Podcast. I finally made an account just for the podcast. So it's at Senshi Podcast. And then on Facebook, at Ate Segno Senshi. And then our topic for tonight is going to be the Sailor Moon R movie. So I hope that many of you have had the privilege to go and enjoy the movie, as I did with Faindina and our friend who, for the remainder of the podcast, I'm just going to refer to as, I'll refer to her as Ray because she cosplayed as Sailor Mars. But we had a really good time. It was a whole experience. We cosplayed. We went to a weekday showing, so we didn't have as many people in the audience, which in a way was kind of nice. I cosplayed as Haruka Tenno with the yellow blazer and black shirt and cross necklace and everything. It was a lot of fun. Faindina cosplayed as Usagi, and she made the most adorable Usagi, and by far she cosplays a really good Usagi. She had all of the over-the-top Usagi behaviors, and she cosplays a really good Usagi. And then we had our friend who cosplayed as Rei in a more casual outfit. And she did a really good job, too, of keeping our Usagi in check. So, it was just a whole fun experience for us. And so, what I'd like to do is, I'm not going to spend, breaking down every scene of the movie, but I want to go over some of the things that I liked. And I liked some of the things that I liked. Of course, I enjoyed being able to watch the intro short, even though it seemed like a little redundant because most of us who were there were Sailor Moon fans growing up, so we knew who all of the Senshi were. But at the same time, it was a lot of fun to see the different depictions of the different Senshi and to see Usagi and Chibiusa's banter back and forth about the whole thing. So I actually did enjoy that, and I didn't think that I would. When we first started watching it, it took me a couple minutes to get into it. But I did enjoy it for its humor. And I liked the introduction that they gave with the voice actors for Mamoru and Usagi and Fiore, which, if you look it up, interesting little fact, the same voice actor who does Fiore also does Umino in the newest dubs. So, I found that interesting when I was looking up stuff earlier and found that out. But I liked the speech, and at first I didn't exactly see some of the things that they were talking about, especially the voice actor Stephanie Shea of Usagi, because she was talking about how much you see Usagi mature in this piece, and at first it's like, wait, no. But I was thinking back to what I had watched when I was younger. And then if you see some of the dialogue changes and things that they made to make it truer to the original Japanese and to kind of, make it a better representation than what we had before, it actually makes sense. You actually see why Usagi is a princess in this, as opposed to, it's not about her powers or her status or anything except her ability to accept and love people and her intense desire to help people. That, to me, was just, it was apparent with her relationship with Senshi as it showcased throughout, her care for Mamoru, and even her willingness to see the good that still remained in Fiori, and that she wanted to help him in the end, that she didn't want to just kill him and get rid of him. She wanted to help him, which was great. And so she did. But that's what makes her truly a princess. That's what makes her worthy of the title of Princess Serenity, is that ability to love and befriend and look past any gossip, anything that's on the surface, and just accept people. And that was amazing. I did like that this was a little bit more mature of a representation for them. It wasn't just, the campy 90s dialogue, although I did catch myself a few times in my head hearing the old dialogue, which, nothing against the old dub, the old, version of it, or the version of the dialogue, it was a little 90s campy. And so I heard that in my head a few times, like when Usagi wakes up after saving Chibiusa and going through the plate glass window and everything, and Usagi's getting ready to go back out, or getting ready to transform to go battle. In my head, when Chibiusa gives her that thumbs up, I totally heard the phrase, "Go get a moon mama." I couldn't help it, because I had just watched it so many times. I mean, I own two copies of the older version, and definitely if they release this one on DVD or Blu-ray, I will own it. No questions asked. But at the same time, I couldn't help it. Some of it was just always stuck in, and I think always will be stuck in my head. But at the same time, this was a little bit more mature, a little bit more contemporary representation of some of that teenage angst and drama and some of those teenage feelings. And they were talking about things like that kind of relationship versus just all of their old boyfriends or whatever. And talking about how anyone could love Mamoru, man or woman. And so it was more mature, and it was a more well-rounded representation of Mamoru and Usagi's relationship. There's a scene where Usagi, it's that flashback to where Usagi's asking Mamoru about his family and about the car accident that happened and how he's been alone. In the old dub, in the old version, you have this voiceover narration that states that Usagi will protect him, or that she is his family now. And in this new version, you have a piece of dialogue where Mamoru states that Usagi is his family now, and it speaks to a more balanced commitment to their relationship. That it's not just Usagi dragging Mamoru along for the ride, that Mamoru is as committed as she is. And I think that's a really good thing. No, excuse me. To, I think that you also get a lot more in the sense of some of the impact of some of the fighting scenes. I mean, it's not a totally action-packed movie. It's more about the emotions and the relationships and those kinds of struggles and developments, and that's amazing. I've never seen, it's not a Sailor Moon's never been a DBZ where it's, so much fighting or anything, and that's great. I like seeing the emotional journeys. If you read my writing, you notice most of the battles, most of it is, the story is going to be that emotional buildup that eventually culminates in one or two good, in a few good battles. But the bulk of the story is that emotion. So to me, that's a really good thing. But if you look at this movie, the action sequences that are there are really good. And so I really enjoyed them. You see more impact than in the TV series of some of the attacks. You see more signs of damage from them being slammed into things and having their energy sucked out. You see those things take more impact. And to me, I think that's a really good thing. So, with that being said, I think that it would have been nice to see some improvements on some of the CG that, within, I know the limits of the time and everything. I get that. But it would have been that would have been a nice tweak. Would have been to see how that could have been improved. So, but that aside, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the whole experience. It was nice that we got the little little cards and the envelopes and the posters. They didn't have as many posters as they did cards. So, Fandina and our friend Ray both got a poster. I opted, because I have a lot of roll scrolls and other things already on my walls, to, let them both have the poster, and I didn't take one. As far as the cards went, I got really lucky, and I got 2 different ones, which was nice, because we did go to a weekday showing, and so it was a smaller audience, so they had enough extra that they could give out a few more, and I really enjoyed that. And it was fun walking into the theater and hearing people, kind of have their own little fangirl moment over the 3 of us walking in there obviously in our cosplays. We got some really funny pictures of Usagi trying to hold the popcorn, and I did have to save the popcorn a few times from destruction. But, getting back to the movie, the one other thing that would have been nice if they would have been able to do would have been for them to put some subtitles just for the Japanese music. Like, I like that they use the Japanese music, although I will admit I am a sucker very badly for the old Sailor Moon Power of Love from the original English version. But, if we're going to keep the Japanese music in, I would have liked very much for them to have included some subtitles. And if YouTube will cooperate, I'm going to give you a little snippet of the Power of Love in case anyone has forgotten this.